So we have our second speaker for tonight in the form of Samantha Bowen Green, and she is associated with New Growth Naturals. So she's a hair loss practitioner, and she's a natural hair specialist, and she's also a social media influencer. You can watch her videos. So she has a YouTube channel, and you can watch her videos at New Growth Naturals. So Miss Samantha, we welcome you in the room, and she'll be speaking tonight. She'll be speaking tonight about building hair regimes for healthy hair. Love on your tresses. Welcome, Samantha.
Thank you so much for having me. And I must say, this is a great program. I get excited when it comes on to natural hair care, and I'm super excited to be here.
We're excited to have you.
And thanks for putting on this seminar. It's much needed, especially in a time like this when there's not a lot of, well, there's not a lot of information about natural hair, but a lot of persons want this one-on-one talk and what to do, when to do, and all that. So I'm here for it. So firstly, let us give God thanks for the knowledge that he has given us. And the first thing, like you mentioned, I want to touch on, is natural hair regimen. When it comes to natural hair regimen, I'm going to break that down for you. So those that are not familiar with the word hair regimen can better understand. So simply put, natural hair regimen is a routine. So the other word for regimen is routine. And that routine is set by you to manage your natural hair and to keep it healthy, pretty much. That's just it. This helps with consistency. It helps you to reach goals, and it helps in the overall health of your hair, simply put. So when it comes to natural hair regimen, what am I saying? There's a lot of things that you need to consider, and that is the porosity of your hair, the density of your hair. It has to do with your timing as well, the needs of your hair in general. So for basic, what you'd want to do for a regimen is sit down and think about your lifestyle. For example, there are some persons that, would wash their hair once per week. There are others that wash their hair twice for the month or once per month, or otherwise. It's just based on your lifestyle preferences, on what's happening on your scalp, on your hair. My recommendation for natural hair, however, is at least twice per month. But hey, if you have a scalp condition that gives you flaking and itching and so many other conditions, like if you're treating alopecia, that requires you to constantly be removing products from your scalp, you'll need to shampoo more frequently. And that's why I said that natural hair regimen is all about you, setting your routine that works for you. So these are things that you may want to include in your regimen, or should I say must have in every regimen. All right, so first, you want to have a shampoo day or shampoo days. And this is a day when you shampoo your hair. And when it comes to shampoo days, let me break it down. This is what you should be doing on shampoo days. You should be washing your hair with a sulfate-free shampoo, and you should be deep conditioning your hair. Like whenever you try to use shampoo, whether it's sulfate-free or not, always follow up with a deep conditioner. Yes, and that's just going to help the overall health of your hair. It's going to help your hair to retain more moisture. It's going to help your hair to stay strengthened, because what the shampoo does, it has a lot of surfactants in it. And these are the cleaning agents in the shampoo. Whether it has sulfates or not, it tends to strip the hair. It tends to strip away the natural oil, which is called sebum. Sebum is the natural oil that your scalp produces that lubricates and coat your strands, that help to keep it protected. Those shampoo, even though it says that it's sulfate-free, can wash away a lot of those natural oils from your hair and leave it dry and brittle. You don't just want to go in with a regular conditioner. You want to do a deep conditioner, which is simple put. For those that are not understanding, I like to go and explain every single term that I use. So deep conditioner is basically putting a product on your hair that will not only moisturize hair, but really get down into the cuticle of your hair, and you're going to go ahead and cover it, with like a shower cap or a steam cap, whatever it is. And then you let that product sit on for like 10 to 15 minutes if you're going under a dryer, or if you're just going to allow your body heat to really process that, you want to go for like 30 to 35 minutes with that product on. That's basically deep conditioning. When it comes to deep conditioners, how you choose deep conditioners is very important, and that's just because of your hair porosity. For example, there's high and low porosity. If you have high porosity hair, you want to lean to deep conditioners that have proteins in them, because what happens, when you have high porosity hair, it simply means that the cuticle layer of your hair is open, and that allows moisture in the strands really quickly. Also, it allows moisture just as fast out. So you find that your hair is wet really when you add moisture to it, and then within a matter of minutes, it is really dry. So your hair is not holding that moisture. Deep conditioners with protein help your hair to hold the moisture because they simply coat the strand, and the protein help to fill in those gaps where you have the cuticle layer is really open. So if you have high porosity hair, I would recommend that. For low porosity hair, you want to gear more to lighter products, more to products that are more moisturizing. You still do need protein, but you would limit the amount of protein that you use. And I'd recommend that you do protein treatment like once per month if you have low porosity hair, simply because the cuticle layer is the opposite of high porosity hair. It's much tightly coiled. In other words, it doesn't allow moisture that easy into the strand. And that is a problem because your strands need moisture to thrive. So then what you may want to do is do like clarifying shampoo at least once per month, or basically say some person like to keep their protective style for 2 or 3 months, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as it is protecting your hair, it's not taking your hair edges out, and you're caring for your natural hair under the protective style, whichever one you choose. There's nothing wrong with that. I do it sometimes and I have healthy hair all around. But what you need to pay attention to is while you're doing that protective style, you need to form a regimen different from a person that doesn't do long-term protective styling. So if you take down a protective style after that long, I expect that you do a clarifying shampoo to strip all that dirt and all that built up from the hair, especially if you do have low porosity hair. I hope I'm not going too fast, so you're just spitting out all this information at you guys. But all right, so really, so for low porosity hair, you want to use deep conditioners that are moisturizing, protein once per month. You do not want to use any products that has protein in it to leave on your low porosity hair. Wash that protein out. Don't leave it on. All right, so back to what I was saying. Shampoo days, you want to wash, you want to deep condition, and then you want to follow through with moisturizing the hair. This is very important. And before I go into that, like if you realize your hair get dries out really fast, whether or not you're using sulfate-free shampoo, you may want to pre-poo your hair. Basically, it is what it sounds like. It's preparing your hair for shampoo. How do you pre-poo your hair? Simple put, it's just adding a product to your hair that helps to really seal the hair, that helps to really prep the hair for the shampoo that will hit. Most people like to pre-poo with olive oil. If you're going to be using olive oil or coconut oil to pre-poo your hair, you want to do it, it works best overnight. So you apply the oil to your hair. You're not going to apply moisture to it, just oil. And then you're going to put a steam cap or whatever on your hair and you sit it for overnight. If you don't have time like that, at least half an hour to an hour before you wash your hair, you should do a pre-poo. So pre-poo, wash, and then deep conditioner. If you miss the pre-poo step, do not miss the deep conditioning step. Step of this regimen. And after deep conditioner, you want to follow through with moisturizing the hair. No, moisturizing varies for different people. Like I said, porosity plays a very important part when it comes to moisturizing the hair, because how well your hair absorb the moisture and keep it depends totally on your hair porosity. Yes, I want to make that clear. So when it comes to high porosity hair, you want to lean much more to creamy products, to oil, really thick oils and stuff like that, just so you get to lock the moisture in your strands. Low porosity hair, on the other hand, you want to make sure that your products that you're leaving on doesn't have protein, number one. And number two, you want to make sure that your lighter oils that can absorb into the cuticle layer of your hair. You don't want that product to be weighing on your hair and preventing moisture from the environment to go into that strand. I hope you understand. You can type in the chat if you want to be clear on something. As I go, I don't mind stopping and explaining to you. So right after your moisturizing, say that's wash day, pre-poo, you're washing, you're deep conditioning, you're moisturizing. After moisturizing, what comes? It depends on you. Some persons prefer to blow dry the hair. Some persons prefer to do a protective style right off the bat, like something to stretch the hair, whether it's huge twists, whether it's plaits, whether it's bantu knots, whatever it is that you do to stretch your hair or to go straight into protective style. But these are things that you want to consider, whichever one. Blow drying, a lot of persons think that blow drying is bad for the hair, but not necessarily. It can be a blessing if you know how to do it correctly. Let me explain that. Too much heat on the hair can cause damage. Not using a heat protectant can cause damage. Also, using heat too frequently can cause damage. But if you have 4C hair like myself, or if you have really coily hair, you may want to use a little heat every now and again to stretch your hair, especially if you're planning to style the hair. Because if your hair is really coily and you're not stretching it, and then you're going in after that wash day with all that stress, you've been manipulating your hair throughout the whole wash day routine, you want to be very careful not to style your hair the same day. Or if you do, you want to at least use a blow dryer to lightly blow it out. You don't have to blow it until it looks like you have a silk press. Like, that's not necessary. Try not to do that. But every now and again, it is necessary, especially for coily hair, to have a little bit of blow drying, not too frequently. I would say maximum twice for the month. You know, that's a lot actually. Like for me, my hair is heat sensitive. I use heat on my hair like twice per year. But I understand that different people may have different lifestyles. Some persons do not touch their hair at all. They go to see a salon specialist and they have to keep their hair well kept. It lasts for like 2 weeks to 3 weeks to a month. And I understand if you go to the salon, I don't expect that you're going to sit down and you're going to always do a style that is a wet style. You want to blow dry your hair, but once your stylist understand what needs to be done, or once you understand what needs to be done, you are better able to prepare and to help to guide your stylist, on what to do. So you want to decide what is best for you based on your hair's porosity. Like I said, minimum heat if you choose to use blow dryers, and you want to lessen the frequency, you must use a heat protectant, must moisturize the hair. Do not blow dry your hair when it's dry without any product on it. That's just going to damage your hair because your hair is left with nothing to protect it, and that's not very healthy. On the other hand, if you choose not to use a blow dryer, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, you can finish that thought. I was just noting that a lot of persons want clarification on what it means to have low porosity or high porosity hair. How does one know the type of porosity hair that they have?
Okay, so you can do a porosity test. Simple. There is one that a lot of persons have done, and it's very simple. Basically, what you do is take a clean strand of hair, and this is important to make sure that no product is on the hair, because that can give you a wrong reading, because products can help to steal the cuticle and to give you, a fake test. So at home, you can take a clean strand of your hair. You can get water. You want to make sure the water is not cold, the water is not hot. It's just at the right temperature. And then you want to put that strand of hair in it. If the strand of hair floats on the water, like it would not sink, you have low porosity hair. If it goes right to the bottom of the water, it's high porosity. If it goes somewhere in the middle, that's normal. And that's where you want to be at. There's no right or wrong porosity, whichever you have, that's still okay. It's just as a matter of learning how to deal with it. For professionals, as a professional, I do not do the strand test with water. When a client comes to me, simple put, I know how the cuticle layer of the hair is supposed to feel. And so I'll do a strand test by running my fingers down the hair. Then I can feel the hair shaft and I can feel whether or not the person have high porosity or low porosity hair. I hope that answered your question.
Did. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so let's move on. So I was at moisturizing. So after you moisturize your hair, the next thing that you want to do throughout that week is moisturize your hair again. And you may not want to go through the whole step of, using LCO, or let me break that down for you. So moisturizing, you want to use liquid first, and then you want to add your oils or cream, or you can use liquid cream, or, but the best thing to moisturize your hair is water. Water is the best moisturizer. Oils are not moisturizers. You may hear this before, or you may think that oils are moisturizers. Oils are actually sealants. And as soon as you understand the difference between a moisturizer and a sealant, then we're on our way to somewhere. So you get your moisture from water. So for moisturizing, you can use water. You can add things to your water like glycerin or a little honey, because what glycerin do and honey, they are natural humectants. What this means is that it draws moisture from the atmosphere into the strand. So if you choose to use water, it's okay to add a little glycerin, add a little honey to your spray bottle, and you can add a little oil and touch your hair up, like lightly mist your hair throughout the week. You do not have to go through the same step that you did on your wash day with that heavy cream and all. But you can just make sure that throughout the week your hair is moisturized. as when it comes to moisturizing, it's just like you being dehydrated. Like if you're dehydrated, it's going to take a lot for you to get to the point where, you know, you're fully hydrated. So you're going to be drinking a lot of water. If it's so bad that you have to go to the hospital, they'll give you a IV and they'll literally feed you water through your veins and stuff like that. It's the same thing with your hair. If you have not been moisturizing your hair is dry, you're not going to start moisturizing your hair this week or today and expect that it is going to be really moisturized and it's going to keep the moisture. You have to do it consistently for your hair to get the message. Listen, you're dry, I want it to be moisturized, keep it. Moisturizing the hair start from inside out, I should mention before, and that's through drinking a lot of water. So you want to make sure you're drinking water. That's the first thing. And then your hair will be moisturized from inside out. And then you want to apply water or water-based products to your hair, like leave-in conditioners, but you want to make sure your moisturizers and your leave-in conditioners, like one of the first two ingredients thereabout is water. And that's how you know how good that moisturizer or leave-in conditioner is. It must consist of mostly water, because that's where we get the moisture from. And then you want to have your sealants, your other stuff in there, but you want to pay attention to the ingredients based on your hair's porosity again. You want to make sure if you have low porosity, there's no protein in it. I know it sounds like a lot, but I'm trying to break it down for you guys to understand. So then, for example, so if my hair is chronically dry, I've never moisturized it before, I've never know that I don't just wash my hair and put some oil on it and that's it. And that's it again until the next wash day. So if I'm new now and I'm just learning, you want to know, say, okay, I wash my hair, I deep condition my hair, I moisturize my hair. What next? Tomorrow morning, you're going to get up and you're going to spritz that hair curl with water. You're going to use your spray bottle, whatever you add to it, whatever humectant. That's very important if you're using water. You want to use a humectant. You want to use oils to help to lock that moisture in your hair. And you're going to do that daily. When I just started out with that, I was doing it twice per day. Like I used to spritz my hair and by midday, my hair was dry again. I was like, but I moisturize it. But you will recognize once you start consistently deep condition your hair will hold moisture a whole lot. Like deep conditioner is the best thing since sliced bread. Try it out if you have not tried it. And then, so you want to moisturize and you want to slap your oils or your butter on to lock the moisture. And that's just going to keep your hair moisturized for a longer period of time. And that's pretty much it. So you want to go ahead and do your protective style. Now, with protective style, again, it depends on you. It depends on where you work. It depends on your lifestyle. It depends on you. But a few things that you want to consider when it comes to protective style is it really protecting your hair? Is it going to take away your edges? Is it like if you do a protective style and you cannot access your natural hair underneath it to moisturize, it may not be a good idea because the purpose of protective styling is to protect your hair. You protect your hair because you want it to be healthy. You protect your hair because you want to retain some amount of length. Even if long hair is not your goal, healthy hair is. And if long hair is your goal, it has to begin with healthy hair. So then I get annoyed when I watch videos that tell people use this oil and your hair will grow how many inches in a week. It's not possible. It doesn't happen. Like I am a hair loss practitioner by profession, and based on my studies, your hair grows almost to like half an inch per month. Some people may get a little bit more. Some people may get a little bit less. That's totally dependent on your genetics. It's dependent on your health. It's dependent on your regimen. It's dependent on so many factors. But there is not a person on the planet that gets over an inch per month. It's not possible. If it was possible, trust me, girl, your doctors will be capitalizing on that and selling you some products for millions of dollars because people want their hair to be longer and people have money to spend on it. Okay, so just rule that out. But what you can do is develop a consistent regimen. You don't want to start something and then you're not consistent with it. As a rule, when I am busy, because we all have busy life, we have kids, we have husbands, we have whatever your life is, you have a busy life. And for natural hair, it takes time. It is the truth. And that's why a lot of persons don't really like to deal with hair, because for natural hair, for it to really be healthy, it takes a lot of time, but you have to plan for it. Just like what you plan for everything else. Plan for your hair. Have a day. My hair takes a day to wash, unless I'm washing it when I do braids, because that's my main protective style. But when I do wash my hair out, that's an entire day. The whole detangling process, the whole everything planned for your natural hair. And the tools that you need to have in mind is what you need, what products you need, what you need to do, and just take time. Eventually, it becomes easier because it becomes a part of your routine. So back to protective styling. So when you choose your protective styles, you want to make sure that it will last you for at least a week. And why I say a week, because people have different hair types, and based on the hair type that you have, it will determine how long your protective style lasts. Yeah, because for braids or cornrows, I do natural hairstyles only. I don't do extensions and so on. So I'm talking on a perspective from persons that only style their natural hair without extension. If you have, like, say, a type 3A to 3C hair, it may, especially if they have fine strands, they may not be able to keep protective style that long, to protect the style that you don't add extension that long. And you may have to change that style for a week or 2 weeks. Aim to keep your style for at least 2 weeks. Anything more than that, that's great. Once your scalp is healthy, once it is clean, that's awesome. That's a good way to keep your hair healthy. But you want to make sure once you take down that protective style, which is key, other persons think that our hair type doesn't grow, and that's simply because it seems to stick at one length, because no matter what you do, you're using this product, using that product, you're not retaining length. Another thing that is key to your hair length retention is how well you're able to handle and manage your hair. Our hair is coily. It is very weak because where the buns are, where the coils are formed, where the buns are, it's very weak. And if you pass a comb through that, it's going to break easily, especially if you have weak, brittle hair. Even when your hair is at the strongest, our hair is just so strong, and not Samson, by the way. So you want to make sure you're very gentle with your hair. I recommend that you do a lot of finger detangling, and then you want to use a white tooth comb, and you want to start from the ends of your hair, and you want to work your way down to the scalp area of your hair. And that's important. Removing your protective style, there's two major event that cause a lot of breakage. That's when you're taking down your protective style and during the shampoo process, because that's when you're constantly manipulating your hair. That's when you're trying to detangle your hair. That's when you have to deal with your hair like that. And you want to be very careful during those two instances. I'm seeing some questions come in. Do you want to address which questions I should be answering, or should I just go on?
You could finish your presentation and we ask them at the end.
Okay, awesome. All right, so then you want to make sure that during your takedown of your protective style, you're extremely cautious, you're extremely careful. If you feel frustrated, if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel stressed, do not touch your hair. Leave it, because all that frustrating. I'm telling you from experience. I'm telling you from other dealing with clients over the years and their experiences as well. Leave your hair alone. Let it go for one more day. Who cares? Well, probably you care, but guess what? You're going to save your hair. Hair takes a while to grow, but it's just as easy. Easy. So you want to make sure that you take your time, take down your hair, and before you take down your hair, you want to make sure it's moisturized. Based on your hair's porosity, again, based on the texture, the thickness of your hair, different things may work. During that take down process, I prefer to use oils on mine, like olive oil, and that will help me to take down my hair, or my shea butter recipe. There are detanglers that you could use. Some persons can use their conditioners. It depends on what works with your hair, and that's what is key. Don't be a product junkie, but try to find products that actually work for you. And once you find those products, stick with them. You don't need to change if something is working for you. You only change hair products when it's not working. And it depends on the type of product and what it is supposed to do. For example, if you get a hair growth serum that is supposed to be stimulating hair growth, you're not expecting to see a result over 2 weeks or say, a month. It takes a time for you to actually see. It takes 3 to 4 months for new hair to regrow in the hair, to develop in the hair follicles. In other words, what I'm saying, some products you have to give them time. Some products you use it immediately and you know that this is a no for me. For example, if you have low porosity hair, you're trying to do a deep conditioner. It didn't mention that it has protein on it, but when you put it on your hair got so hard, you tried everything else, every other product after it to soften it, and you realize that, and you start breaking your hair, you know that, hell no, this product is not for me right off the bat. But there are other products that actually takes time to work. Don't go about being a product junkie. Like I said, if you're not sure, my sister said it early on, use a stylist, consult somebody that knows about these things, that can look at your hair, touch your hair, and know exactly what it needs if you really need help in that department. But being a product junkie is definitely not good. It can cause a lot of product built up on your hair. It can cause your hair to be way down. It can cause the adverse, it can cause your hair to break so much if you're not careful with that. And then another thing that you want to consider for your hair regimen is you want to, she mentioned it early on, like she said so many good stuff. I could just pack up and go now. Your diet is really important. I should talk about that firstly, but I first have to give you practical ways. If you want healthy hair, like your body, God made us fearfully, we're fearfully and wonderfully made by God. And God made our bodies to prioritize. In other words, if you're not eating a balanced diet, you're not getting enough nutrients that your body needs, your body is going to prioritize. Your heart, your lungs, your liver, those organs that needed to survive are going to get the nutrients. Your hair, skin, and nails, they are not priority to your well-being, to you being alive. So they're going to get the what left. And if they're getting the what left, imagine you're going to be growing brittle hair. So no amount of products that you put on that brittle hair is going to help it to recover. It first starts from inside out. So you want to drink a lot of water, like I mentioned early on. You want to eat your green leafy vegetables. You want to maintain a balanced diet so that you have healthy hair grows from the scalp. Once you have that healthy hair growing from the scalp, the next task is to maintain the health of your hair. And that has to do with, again, your hair routine, the products that you choose to use on your hair, and also your nightly routine. That is very important. So after wash day, during the week, you want to moisturize. How often you moisturize, just recapping, how often you moisturize is totally dependent on what your hair needs, on you, how long you started the moisturizing process, and all that sort of stuff. So while you moisturize during the week, at night, you want to make sure you sleep in a satin bonnet or a satin or silk scarf or a satin or silk pillowcases. This is really important because all that effort that you put into moisturize your hair, sis, if you do not do that overnight, your hair is going to dry out. Overnight, your hair is going to be in contact with that cotton linen that you have. I know all about it because I have some. So your hair is going to be in contact with that cotton linen, and that's going to cause breakage. So dryness plus your hair being in contact with your linen is going to break your hair. So you want to make sure you protect your hair at night. Some people have a nighttime routine. Some people just moisturize throughout the day, and that's okay. It depends on you and what your hair needs. Listen to your body, listen to your hair. When you feel it, when you look at it, you must, over time, it's not going to happen like tomorrow when you start. Over time, you'll feel, oh, this don't work, this don't feel so good, and you're going to know what works, and eventually you're going to get into that. And that's what I hope that you'll get from here. If you don't remember anything else that I've said about regimen, try to remember, sleep in a satin bonnet or on a silk pillowcase. Keep your moisture game up. Try to avoid products with sulfate, parabens, or anything of the sort.
Amen. Amen. You're finished, Samantha?
No, I'm not finished.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just wondering if I'm talking so much that I've thought.
No, not at all. You can go ahead for a few more minutes and we'll just jump into the questions. I saw the pause and thought you were through, but you can go ahead for about 5 more minutes and we'll jump into the questions.
Okay, so I know there may be persons on here that is dealing with alopecia. And for those that don't understand what that word is, it's simply balding. And because of my area of expertise, I want to touch a little bit on that because I know the other beautiful ladies up here is going to be talking about, hair care in general, but I want to touch on alopecia. When it comes to alopecia, there are different types. I can list some of them for you. The main ones that I think you may be having an issue with, or different persons may commonly have an issue with, is traction alopecia. Traction alopecia, there is androgenic alopecia, there is CC. Sorry, I'm just under the weather. So there are different types of alopecia basically, and there's tension alopecia as well. I am going to go through these 4 with you just because they are the most common that we have to deal with. The first one is traction alopecia. Now, when it says traction alopecia, it's simply just because you put a lot of tension on the hair and it causes balding. Most time persons have it on the hairline. Sometimes it can be in the middle, wherever the tension is constantly is. That's what's caused traction alopecia. Now, the thing about traction alopecia, you may be able to recover that hair. The only way you're not able to recover the hair is if the follicle of the hair is scarred. It means that they cannot regrow hair. But most time when a person have traction alopecia, the hardest way to regain the hair growth is just because they have constantly been abusing the hair. For example, you put in a braid or you put in a sewing hair, and then constantly, one after the other, you've been putting on hair, taking out one hair to put in the other, and that can cause traction alopecia, especially that weight and that tension on your hair is just going to cause it to go. And over time, you may lose that hair follicles, and that's what you don't want. And that's why I see a lot of persons, when they come to me to see me and I do my scans on their scalp and on the hair, I really see that it is constant abuse, by doing tight hairstyles. Even if you're not a person that putting extension, ponytails, constantly putting your hair back in one, constantly doing tight hairstyles on the hair can really cause traction alopecia. And that is something that I see that is increasing as there's a lot of wigs people are growing down here on the hair, doing all these braided styles, which look cute, by the way, like they really looks good. But you still have to consider the health of your hair, because when you take out those weaves, when you take out those braids, you're still going to want your natural hair. And that's what you want to focus on. Whatever this brings us back to managing your protective style. Choose what protective style is going to work for you. The another type of alopecia that I want to touch on is androgenic alopecia. That is male and female pattern baldness, and male and female pattern baldness. And this is strictly genetic. There is nothing that you have done that caused this to happen. So you may notice that your father, your uncle, your brother, somebody along your hairline has that sort of alopecia, and you'll see most males with hair. This section here is bald. Females have it too. Usually starts at a widening at the part, and then it gets wider, and it's in this section right here. But you'll see it's thinning, and you see all of the hair right here, but the parting start getting wider, and it keep on degenerate as the hairs go by. Like I said, it is strictly genetic. So there's nothing that you have done to cause it on yourself. The good news is you can actually treat androgenic alopecia, but the moment you stop doing those treatments, it picks up where it leaves off. So for androgenic alopecia, if you're a male or a female suffering from female or male pattern baldness, you want to block DHT. That is the hormone that is responsible for that type of hair loss. It is inside of you. There are supplements that you can take to block DHT. There's food that is rich in DHT blockers that you may want to take to help to block that DHT. You have to attack this problem from inside out, because it starts from the inside in the first place. And then you want to apply topical, like minoxidil, like Rogaine. There are so many different things that your health professional would administer to you, or your dermatologist or your trichologist, whoever you see, may apply to your scalp, but it has to be daily. It has to be something that you are consistent with for it to work, because the hair did not go over time. It took a number of years, but it just got thinner and thinner until you're left with this big bald patch. You know this, right? So for that, the moment you stop treating it, it will pick up where it leaves off. So you can grow back the hair and you can have a full head of hair, but the moment you stop treating that, Also, I need to mention that there's also laser therapy, low-level laser therapy that can help you with androgenic male and female pattern baldness, in other words. And there is another alopecia that is related to stress. There's alopecia areata that is as a result of, autoimmune diseases and stuff like that. Your alopecia that is caused by products that you use on your hair. Sorry about the noise in the background. My son just closed the door. Right. So there alopecia as it regards to, products that you may use on your hair, the abuse of like relaxers and stuff like that. Your alopecia caused from stress. Your alopecia caused from medications that you may be taking. Your alopecia that is caused from, a very poor diet. And that is crucial, like that is critical. That can cause your hair to fall out as well. There are so many factors that can cause alopecia. The key thing is to try to figure out which one you're experiencing, and that is you need to see a health professional. You need to see somebody that is knowledgeable, that is professional in this regard to diagnose you, and then from there you can decide whether or not you're regrowing the hair or not. The thing is, most people with alopecia can actually regrow hair. The only ones that cannot regrow the hair is the ones that have scar tissue, and the only way to determine that is by us scanning your scalp to see whether or not the follicles are alive or not. All right, so then there is hope. But the first thing I want you to focus on for now, your diet, exercising, drinking lots of water, getting enough sunlight, getting enough nutrients in your body to help your hair grow. Because hair, like I said, grows from inside out. My personal story is I don't always have this beautiful hair on my head. My story is one of struggle. I struggled for years because I didn't know myself to have long hair. I know myself to have dry, short, brittle hair. And everybody else tell me, no matter what, I remember I grew up in Jamaica, and after school, like, my friend used to follow me to the market just to get black castor oil so I can grow my hair. And that didn't work. So many things that I've tried that did not work because I did not understand. But I can assure you that once you understand how hair growth works, how length retention works, and how your hair is, once you understand your hair, you'll be on your way to healthy, longer, thicker hair. So then you want to make sure, like, I'm going to share my personal story. So I grew up short hair, brittle hair always breaking, never grew past a certain length. And that was my story. I tried everything to allow my hair to grow. When I went to cosmetology school, I went to Hart College of Beauty Services, first of all, I should let you know. I was a bit disappointed because I was always into natural hair, but I was disappointed that that's a very good school, by the way, guys. Yeah, I'd recommend it. My disappointment was, and it's not just for Hart College of Beauty Services, I'm not sure if it is changing now, but they did not teach you so much information. They did not give you so much information about your natural hair. I didn't think that they cared much about natural hair, as a matter of fact. And because of that, I could not realize my goal, which was not just to grow my natural hair, but to help my clients, because I was a hairstylist before I actually decided to go and get that certificate. I was not sure how to do that. What it was very good about the course that I did, they taught you the basic about hair. They taught you, about porosity, about products, about caring for hair in general. But as it relates to natural hair, because our hair is very different. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Our hair is different. The products that our hair requires to thrive is very different from persons with relaxed hair or straight hair. Best believe it. Our hair is weaker. Natural hair is weaker. It's not weaker than relaxed hair, because relaxed hair is not the weakest state because you process that hair. But it is weaker because the more coilier your hair is, the weaker the bonds are where the coils are. You need to understand that. So it takes different type of products. I realized that there is now a natural hair movement. And with that natural hair movement, what is now happening, a lot of people are removing their products from shelf, and what they're doing is rebranding them, saying that, like, they may put a natural fragrance to it or make it more creamier, or they may, say it has castor oil, black Jamaican castor oil, because black Jamaican castor oil is a thing. Yeah, we have that. But they may say, they put olive oil in it, there's organ oil, there's jojoba oil, there's different stuff in it, and that may be attractive to you. That is not trained to know that, hey, when you read the ingredients on the label, that's the least amount that is in it, if any at all, if you're being truthful. When we trust in the Bureau of Standards here. But it's not enough to really have that impact on your hair. It's just about rebranding. And so I always recommend to my client, the best products to use on your hair is all natural products, meaning things that you can find in your kitchen. And I know a lot of professionals will hit me on this, but this is something that not only worked for me, but I've dealt with hundreds of clients and it has been working for them. Yeah, they're seeing healthier hair, they're seeing longer hair, they're seeing thicker hair. I recommend your avocados, your ripe bananas, your honey, your olive oil, your coconut oil, your castor oil. There's so many different things, but the way in which you use them and consistency has a lot to do with how well it's able to absorb in your hair and the science behind it. And that's why I advise you to seek help, but those are the best. There are some store-bought products that are amazing, and I like to use that at my salon for clients. And I thank God for those honest persons that have dedicated themselves to create these awesome products for natural hair in particular. And I like those products. Like, when I find a really good product, I like to give them a shout out. And you know what? this is amazing because not many of us have the time to really go and get ripe avocados and, you know, freeze it for later, or with this and blend your banana and honey and all. You just want to go to the store, pick up our products because of your lifestyle, of course, and that's quite fine. But you want to make sure when you read the ingredients on your products, you want to make sure that the main ingredients that you're looking for, like the benefits that you want your hair to have, they're listed in the first 3 to 5 ingredients on that product. Or sis, there's a little bit of that ingredients in the products, and you want to pay very much attention to that. So for my hair, the more I learned, like I did a lot of research. The first thing I did was pray. Like I prayed to God earnestly because this is something, like the sister said earlier, it affected my self-esteem. I did not like extension pretty much, and I believe God was calling me to, you know, teach others to do natural hair, to be an example for natural hair, because this is the hair that He created us with. Nothing is wrong if you want to change it up and do something, but this is my personal conviction that the hair that you're born with, God wants us to take care of it. He wants us to maximize its full potential. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how God made us. And so I prayed because God is my creator. He knows every strand that is on my head. He knows exactly what needs to be done. I prayed. And when I prayed, I became inspired. You know, faith without work is dead. So after you pray, get up off your knee and go do some research. And if you don't have time to do research, try products, do things. I think God spoke directly to my mind. And so the products that I now create is as a result of inspiration from God, and is as a result of me wanting, because you can't be selfish, you know, whatever knowledge I am sharing with you free of cost now is because God has equipped me with this knowledge and I want to transform the world with it. And I know this will work for you because it's not only working for me. I have hundreds of clients, like I said, that has tried my treatment, that has tried what I say to them on YouTube, that I see face to face, and they're seeing absolutely amazing results. And it's nothing that you have to, you know, spend a bag of money on. It's just simple being consistent, simply following through with the tips that I gave them, simple using the right products, finding the right products, developing a consistent regimen. And trust me, you will see the results if you follow through with everything that I've said. So I kept doing that. It took me 7 years to grow my hair to waist length. No, at the time, I had a lot of setback because I did not fully understand. I understood some things, but I realized that I did not accept shrinkage. With natural hair, if you have natural hair, you have to accept shrinkage. That is one of my low points. I did not like the fact that my hair would be at my waist and it's right here. Like my hair can be really long down here and it shrinks right here. I did not accept that. And I know a lot of my clients doesn't accept it because when you style the hair and say, oh, by tomorrow it's shrunken, or how can I stop shrinkage? Shrinkage is healthy and you need to embrace it. I tell my clients, listen, if you're consistent with your regimen, one day when your hair shrinks, it will be at the length that it is, like right here or where you want it to be, because it will be so long. When it shrinks, it will be very long just the same. So you want to focus on healthy hair, embrace shrinkage. Because if you don't embrace that shrinkage, sis, you're going to have a major problem. Yeah, because you're going to be trying to keep it straight. You're going to be trying to do things to add extensions to help to, you know, keep that length. And that can be a problem because what I find, especially with braids, when you're adding in braids to your hair, the fiber of the braids is really rough. Our hair strands, they're extremely fragile. And no matter how strong your hair is, what it does, especially if you're plaiting in the braids or twisting in the braids, is chop up your natural hair. Over time, you may realize you may retain a little bit of length, but you also notice that your hair may become really thin. Notice that. Same thing with the wigs. With wigs, it's good to have, you know, every now and again, if you're a wig person, I would prefer that you do your natural hair. But if you're a wig person based on your lifestyle, you want to make sure you're not living in that wig consistently because that pressure on your scalp is eventually going to cause your hair to thin out. And also not just the pressure, the fact that your hair is not breathing, that heat on your scalp can cause alopecia over time. So you want to make sure that you're not consistently living in any wigs. You want to make sure that it's just something that is for emergency basis or something like that when you have something to do of that sort, like I said before. So then you want to make sure that you're taking all these things into consideration.